Hello, and welcome back to Skep's Unnamed Deck Showcase. Over the last two episodes, we've looked over 2 years-old Duel Links decks that had new life breathed into them with the release of Rain's World. But today, we're talking about an all-new archetype unleashed onto the game, and as long as Code Talkers are locked behind an EX structure deck, there's only one deck I could be talking about. That's right, today, students, we're studying the best deck of the format, so open your textbooks to Salamangreat 101. So here's the deck list, and right away, I'm sure you're either retching at the abundance of one-ofs if you're a good player, or pogging out of your damn mind at them if you're one of the psychos who plays 30-card Blue Eyes, Red Eyes mashups and never make it out of Gold Rank. But I promise you, though, as long as Circle's at 3, you're playing every relevant Salamangreat at 4. Before going over the card by card, let's first talk about what exactly Salamangreat is and was prior to making it into Duel Links, because believe it or not, this deck is basically the same as it was in the TCG as it is in Duel Links. Salamangreat is a group of fire attribute Cyburst type monsters that for a while after release were unplayably bad due to their reincarnation link summoning gimmick minusing you to infinity. However, when a structure deck that was released that printed a field spell allowing them to reincarnation summon using only a single copy of a named link monster, as well as a link monster that added more Salamangreat monsters from your graveyard to your hand when a monster was summoned to its link point, as well as a search spell that acted like reinforcement of the army at instant speed, the deck was morphed into one of the most powerful resource looping decks for around an entire year. It's important to mention that because barring exactly Salamangreat Spinny, a level 3 that reanimated itself if you controlled another Salad, and Mirage Stalio, a rank 3 that summoned another Salad from deck, we more or less have every relevant monster Salamangreat ever needed to be tier 1. Now, you might see the recursive counter trap and the monster that sends it to the graveyard as the best things you can be doing in this deck, and while Roar loops are powerful, the deck is more than versatile and main deck space is free enough that you can do much more than setting a counter trap card and passing turn 1. Now let's show you exactly what we're playing. First on our list, we're playing one copy of Salamangreat Gazelle because that's all we are allowed to play. This card's fantastic. It summons itself for free if you link summon using a Salamangreat monster you control, or a Salamangreat monster is sent to the graveyard from anywhere. Meaning if you sign at mining discarding a Salamangreat to add Gazelle, it will special summon itself from your hand, letting you do your entire Salamangreat combo without using your normal summon. Very powerful, the reason to play the deck. Skipping the next couple cards, we're going to go to our next Salamangreat name. One copy of Jack Jaguar. We're playing one because we really don't want to draw it. You could maybe play two to avoid getting DD crowed for your entire life savings. But the reason we're playing this is to shuffle back extra copies of Balinx or Sunlight Wolf to our extra deck to special summon it to a zone a Salamangreat Link monster points to, which will recycle Gazelle if you summon it to your Sunlight Wolf's link point. This is, in my opinion, the most powerful thing the deck can do. The counter trap card is powerful, but having a recursive Armageddon Knight that summons itself from your hand every turn rather, with your Jack Jaguar and Sunlight Wolf combo, very powerful, very recursive, very, very strong. The only Salamangreat we're playing more than one copy of, Salamangreat Foxy. I would play one of it, but I wanted an extra Salamangreat name since I win over 20 cards, and I figured this was the best one because it does something on normal summon and it recurs itself. Jack Jaguar is the more powerful recursive engine because it lets you make rank 4s, but Foxy is a normal summon for the deck that can get you to Gazelle if you don't hard open one of your 7 ways to get to it. When this card's normal summoned, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, add an excavated Salamangreat card to your hand, and then shuffle the rest into the deck. Or, if there's a face-up spell or trap on the field, meaning either your field spell, your opponent's field spell, or a continuous spell or trap like Crackdown, you can discard a Salamangreat card, which is another way to get Jack Jaguar into the grave, reanimate it, and then you can pop a face-up spell trap. Important to know, it's not mandatory, so if the only face-up spell and trap is your own, you do not have to pop it if you want to revive Foxy. Next, we're on Salamangreat Falco, the weakest Salamangreat, though an additional way to both recycle Gazelle and set your spells and traps to the field without either banishing them through their own effects or using your Sunlight Wolf effect. Sometimes what you can do is send Falco off of Gazelle for no effect, return Gazelle to your hand, special summon Falco, and then make Sunlight Wolf with it and the Balinx that you perhaps made beforehand. That's another way to get Gazelle back in hand. More important than getting your counter trap set up, in my opinion, is just having Gazelle in hand for turn 3 if you're going first. Obviously, the counter trap's very powerful, but there are other things you can be doing, and recursive boards in Duel Links tend to be the most powerful. That's one of the reasons Resonator was so strong despite not making any turn 1 interruption, unless it hard drew into its counter traps. We're on 1 copy of Salamangreat Fowl. I was on 3 copies of this because I'm TCG brained, and summoning a level 4 from your hand to make Abyss Dweller is very strong right now in the TCG. Similarly strong here, but you don't need to be playing 3 in this format. Lastly, we're on 1 copy of Salamangreat Mirror. What Mirror does is it adds, it special summons itself from your hand when it's added to your hand by a card effect, or actually it's not even by a card effect. If you just draw it outside of your normal draw, which I guess would be for a card effect anyway, you can special summon it. This is how you're triggering Sunlight Wolf on your opponent's turn. You're going to set a Salamangreat Circle, activate it, add Mirror, summon Mirror to your Sunlight Wolf zone, and add back either Foul for your hand, Gazelle to your hand, or whatever you normal summon to start your Salamangreat combo to your hand. If you don't have any target for it, you'll just add Gazelle if you don't already have Gazelle, or Foul if you do have it. So when you normal summon Gazelle next turn, you can special summon Foul. That's what you do if you don't have a target for Sunlight Wolf in your grave. Next, we're on 3 copies of Lady Debug. This is every other Salamangreat in the deck. This is why we're only playing 1 of, because with 3 copies of this, we're functionally playing 4 copies of it. That's why I am playing 1-ofs of every Salamangreat except for the one that does something on normal summon. Very powerful card, hard once per turn. It is a slight nombo with Gazelle, because if you link off Debug for Baelinks and you don't have any other Salamangreat in your hand to special summon, you'll have to reincarnate summon the Baelinks in order to activate Gazelle's effect, but that's fine. It's still a way to access any Salamangreat you need at the time. Very powerful, and the only reason I would be playing less than 3 of it is if I was playing under 30 cards and had 3 copies of Signet Mining, which is realistically the more powerful card for the reason I explained earlier, where you can discard any Salamangreat, add Gazelle with Mining, and then special summon Gazelle. Last off, we're playing perhaps the best card in the game right now. Any deck you're playing should probably be playing 3 of this. DD Crow. DD Crow's so powerful. Against Salamangreat, it hits the Roar out of their graveyard. It hits the Gazelle out of their graveyard. It hits the Jack Jaguar out of the graveyard. It hits the Foxy out of the graveyard. It is incredibly strong against this deck. It's strong against Rose Dragons, which are still seeing play as well. Definitely worth playing, in my opinion, and you should be maxing out on it if indeed you can, especially over 20 cards. No reason to play less than 3, in my opinion. Moving on to these spells, we're on 1 copy of Signet Mining. This could be 3 and 1 Debug. I don't have more than 1, so we're playing 1. Very powerful card. I cannot believe we've got this in the first box of the Vrains era. If you're a free-to-play player, you're probably going to want to stock up on these. 3 copies of Salamangreat Circle. This is Signet Mining at home. It is very powerful. You should be playing 3 of it. I know some people like to say free-to-play decks 1 time through the box. Don't play 2 Signet Mining, or don't play 2 Circle. If you're not completed the deck and you just want to play ranked while you're pulling for a 3rd, you can do that. This deck is crazy, even incomplete. But don't pull 2 Don't pull 2 Circle and be like, yeah, this is fine. Get the 3rd one, please. I'm begging you. 1 copy of Salamangreat Sanctuary, which shows up in my hand all the damn time, which is why I'm playing over 20 cards, and I recommend you do the same. You do not want to draw this card. You exclusively want to add it to your hand off of Salamangreat Baelinks. Why did they print the link 1 that searches the field spell in Duel Links? That was such a bad idea. Next, on to our traps. We are playing 1 copy of Salamangreat Roar, the only copy we are afforded in-game. A very powerful, recyclable Omni-Negate, worth mentioning. If you're going first and you have the option to set this, I would not set it with its own effect. I would set it off of either sending Falco to the grave with Gazelle in a situation in which you already have this in grave, or I would return it to your hand with Sunlight Wolf and set it that way. I always recommend being able to activate this card at least twice, which means adding it to your hand or setting it to your field off of a different Salamangreat monster's effect, and then on turn 3, setting it by its own effect so you can recycle additional spell traps in the form of Circle for additional extenders on turn 3 or 4. The last 5 cards in the deck are all staples. My limit 3 of choice, Crackdown. You can play what the hell is it? Compulse. You can play Compulsory Evacuation Device instead. Probably better because it doesn't lose to MST. I don't have Compulse, and Crackdown is still crazy strong. And 2 copies of Warning Point, because if you Warning Point the Baelinks, you basically win the duel. It also is very strong against cards like Rose Dragon. If you Warning Point the Rocks Rose, they reanimate from the grave. What are they going to do? Probably pass. It's a very powerful card, and in combination with DD Crow and Crackdown, it just hits so much, which is another reason you don't need to be all down bad for Salamangreat Roar going first. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other cards that interrupt our opponent if we draw them going first. With that being said, let's move on to the extra deck. I'm going to go over the Salad monsters we're playing because we're playing a lot less of them than many people would be playing, and I'll explain why. 2 copies of Balings. You can play 3. 3 has never come up for me, but I understand why it would. I also do not have 3, as you can see, so I'm stuck playing 2. The Salamangreat deck, extra deck, is very tight, but there's also room for experimentation, so you can find what ratios of the Salamangreat Link monsters you want. I'm playing 2 copies of Sunlight Wolf. I was playing 3 and no Dweller, but I knew I was going to be playing up against Burning Abyss for some of the match showcases, so I was like, well, let's show off Abyss Dweller, and I was deciding what to cut. You can cut Heat Leo because the skill gives you Heat Leo for free, and if you play in a certain way, you get a second Heat Leo as well. So if you run 1 Heat Leo, you have up to 3 in your deck. If you play 0 Heat Leo, you have up to 2. So you can cut Heat Leo, and it's not crazy at all, which is another reason if you're trying to get Cyanite Mining and you pull it before getting Salamangreat Heat Leo, just reset the box. Having more minings is more important than having more Heat Leos, in my opinion, unless you're like already almost done with the box, in which case just pull for it. We're playing 2 copies of Sunlight Wolf. Like I said, I was playing 3, but I cut it for the Dweller. 1 Heat Leo because I like it. I like having access to 2 of them off the bat. Sometimes, since its on summon effect is not once per turn, you can just shuffle back 2 of your opponent's back row, which is crazy powerful. For our non-Salamangreat cards, we're playing 1 copy of Security Dragon because it is very easy to co-link with our main 2 links. 1 copy of Ngirsu because this deck loses to monsters with targeting protection, so you need to play an out. And 1 copy of Dweller because you can make it, and Dweller is incredibly powerful against Salamangreat and incredibly powerful against Burning Abyss. I highly recommend you at least try it, especially if you're playing in tournament. If not, you can either play 3 Sunlight Wolf or 3 Balings, and the extra deck looks fine for ladder. This is my 24-card list because I do not want to draw the Sanctuary, but if you're really down bad for 20 cards, you can basically just cut like these 3 and the second Foxy, and this is a good 20-card list. You can make enemy controller instead of warning points if you don't have them. If I was playing 30 cards, I would go up on Cyanite Mining, go up on MST, and then play either a 3rd Foxy or a 2nd Jack Jaguar. So that's what a 20 and 30 card list would look like, in my opinion. We're playing 24 cards. Let's show you a metagame gauntlet. All right, so what we're going to do for this video is show 1 game here on ladder versus the mirror match, and the rest are going to be curated games versus tier 3 decks on DLM at the time of recording, so we can see how Salamangreat plays around and with the best decks of the format. You're likely to see both at high ELO and tournament play, where this deck is doing well. Starting off, we're going to normal summon Salamangreat Foxy, not for its effect, because I want to do a couple cute things this turn, since we already have Roar in hand. I figure we can wait a turn on getting Gazelle into hand, so we're going to activate Foxy, discarding Jack Jaguar, make Sunlight Wolf, activate the effect to reincarnation summon of the field spell, activate Jack Jaguar, returning the 2nd Sunlight Wolf to add Foxy to our hand, and set Roar. This is an Omni Negate, a protection, and a normal summon for next turn, which can potentially get us Gazelle, or of course we can top deck one of our 7 ways to get Gazelle, because of course we still have 3 we still have 3 Salamangreat Circle, 3 Lady Debug, Cyanite Mining, and Gazelle itself. We are going to Roar the Link monster. They have Gazelle in hand. Of course they do. They send Foxy, activate Foxy, discard the Circle. I don't really know why they did that. Did they not use Circle that turn? They sure didn't. I don't know about that one. Would have been probably better for you to have searched Sunlight Wolf and discarded it. I think they probably won the game if they did that, actually. They make Sunlight Wolf. They pass. I know for a fact that set card is Roar. They wouldn't have played this turn the same way otherwise. We're going to play around it the best we can by normal summoning Foxy, adding the Salamangreat Fowl, link summoning a copy of Security Dragon to force the Salamangreat Roar. If they don't activate it now, they lose it. They negate Security Dragon. We basically win the game at this point. We shuffle back Foxy, and they give up. All right, first game against Tier 3 here, up against friend of the show, Swamp, on Burning Abyss once again. We lose the die roll. The second game losing the die roll to Burning Abyss, and we're going to see how we play through their opening board. We open Crackdown, Signet Mining, and Econ. Very powerful hand from us. They open Rhino Warrior and activate Alec to summon itself to make Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss, in defense position, discard Skarm to make Beatrice, adding Seer to their hand at the end phase, and setting a card and passing. We activate Salamangreat Circle to add Foul. We add Foul because we're going to add Gazelle off of Mining, triggering its effect to special summon itself, which will trigger the effect of both Gazelle and Foul. We don't use Foul because we want to keep it in hand for when we summon our Balinks. Activate Balinks. Activate, normal summon Foul. Oh, that's why, so we can return it to hand. Very funny. This is disgusting. We activate Falco. They put the Foul back in our hand, and it fizzles. So we don't get to activate it. They get to banish it. We just take their guy. They chain Beatrice. Oh, this is just a total mess. We're going to return Foul to hand so we could special summon Foul after the Falco special summon resolved, and then make a rank 4. But we have nothing left to do. They have a ton of cards in hand. They'll be drawing for turn again. We concede. That was a real rough one. I gotta tell you, if they open Fiend Greeping against you in this deck, it feels very powerful. Oof! All right, game 3 here, up against Jaden Ubel on Favorite Hero Heroes. This game goes by pretty quick. I tried getting a second one against Wounded Hero, but I lost that replay to not reading a face-up Elemental Hero Sunriser, so I figure why include that game when you literally lose to the person playing the deck being an idiot, as opposed to any strengths or weaknesses of the deck itself. Doesn't seem very useful. So we normal summon Foxy and add the circle. Because we're going to link it off, we're going to add Gazelle so we can summon it from our hand. We could have maybe done something different if we normal summoned Debug and reincarnated the Balinks to get Gazelle onto the field and Jack Jaguar into the graveyard, but c'est la vie, we did this instead. Activate Balinks, activate Sunlight Wolf. We're going to add Balinks, by the way, not Sunlight Wolf. We're going to special summon Gazelle, add the Sanctuary, send Falco to our hand. This is why Falco is so good, because we get to recycle Gazelle for next turn, make a Sunlight Wolf, which, because that will put the Balinks in grave, activate the spell, reincarnate the Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, and add the circle back to our hand. Very simple stuff. No Roar in rotation, but we do have our Recursion online. We can add Mirror to our hand, summon Mirror to add Falco or Foxy back to our hand to normal summon. They're going to Miracle Fusion after activating Favorite Hero, or Favorite Duel rather, to send Burstinatrix to the graveyard. Fusion summon a Flame Wingman, add a Sparkman to their hand. I have no idea what Favorite Hero does. I wasn't playing while this was meta. Seems very funny though. They're going to Stratos for a Stratos, and then they're going to activate Skyscraper, go to combat to bait out our Balinks. We're going to protect it. They're going to attack. We're going to crack down, and we have lethal on board after Foxying, so they give up. Let's keep the replays coming, baby. Declan Akaba on DDD for game 4 here. We go first. Let's see what we can make happen. We are going to normal summon Salamangreat Foxy, excavate 3 cards. We add a Jack Jaguar. Then we activate Salamangreat Circle to add Gazelle to our hand. And there we had a delay, so I know they have DD Crow in hand, so I play around it for the rest of the turn. That's why I make a couple weird decisions, because I'm not trying to get my Roar banished. I'm not trying to get my Gazelle banished. So here's how you play around a DD Crow if you've sniffed out your opponent might have it in hand. We're going to summon Gazelle, add a Sanctuary. We are going to send Falco, activate Falco to set the circle. I could have bounced Gazelle back to my hand, but I decided not to, just because if they want to banish Gazelle, they have to go to battle phase and then do it. We are going to circle into another card on their turn. We're going to try to Falco back our Gazelle. They pop it. We go to Foxy, sending away our Sunlight Wolf. I keep saying Sunlight Wolf. Sending away our Jack Jaguar. Normal summon Foxy. We get it warning pointed. We normal summon a foul or special summon foul off its effect. Then we make Sunlight Wolf. Then we activate Jack Jaguar. This will add Gazelle back to our hand. They have one card left in hand. They give up, and we played around Crow. Home stretch, folks. Final game of the video against Rose Dragons, the old best deck in the format. We're going second. They're going first. We play like a dipshit at one point in this game, but I promise you the ending will make it all worth it. This is one of the funniest conclusions to a duel I've ever seen. They're activating Spell Roses. They're sending Rox Rose to add Rox Rose. Must be nice. Normal summon White Rose Dragon. Revive the Rox Rose to add the Basil Rose Shoot to their hand. Synchro summon for the reason we are playing Ningirsu in this deck. Yazi, Evil of the Yangzing, Untargetable Boss, sending Carrot Person from their deck to the graveyard. What a fucked up mouth this guy has. We're going to normal summon Falco. We're going to make Balinx, activating Balinx and Gazelle in sequence. We get to do something a little funny since we didn't activate Falco's effect here. We can return the Gazelle after we send Jack Jaguar. So we're going to return Gazelle. Then we're going to activate the Sanctuary, make a second Balinx, make Sunlight Wolf, activate Jack Jaguar, shuffling the second Balinx back, activating Sunlight Wolf to add Falco back to our hand. We don't really necessarily want Falco, but we do have Falco in hand. We shuffle one of their set spells and traps away, and this is where I misplay. I don't really know why I didn't make the second Heat Leo immediately. I set these two cards thinking, oh, this isn't a big deal. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We should reincarnate summon this. Shuffle the second card away, and it turns out it's MST, and I lose my Roar for no reason. I should have just committed to shuffling their back row away before I did that. But I wasn't sure if I wanted to leave them on one back row and a Heat Leo in deck. That was really stupid of me. What I should have done here is reincarnated Heat Leo right now and got rid of it. But I set my two copies, which is such a bad play. Don't do this, folks. See, it's MST, and because of that, we lost our Roar. But Crackdown is kind of crazy, so maybe it'll be able to take us to victory here. They're going to White Rose. We're going to Crackdown. They need to get their tuner back, so they have to pop Yazi. They get to make Trishula, Zero Dragon of the Ice Barriers, very funny. They get to attack us, which puts us under 2,000 life points, which will get us our second field spell once we are able to get a link on the field. We're going to Falco, setting the Roar, triggering the Gazelle, summoning Roar, or summoning Gazelle, setting Roar, sending Foxy, link summon Sunlight Wolf, activate our little fella, or circle to add Foul, activate Jack Jaguar, shuffle back Heat Leo. They're going to DD Crow the Jack Jaguar. That's totally fine. We play a little bit differently, but we do get our Heat Leo back. We activate our skill, putting Sanctuary back on the field, reincarnate Sunlight Wolf, activate Foul, special summon Foul, add Falco back to our hand, add Foxy to special summon itself, add back Circle. We make Security Dragon. You know we got to make Security Dragon. We're going to attack for 2,900. The last card in hand is Basil Rose Shoot. We have our Roar for one of their cards. Now, I did not know that this deck played Meteor Burst Dragon, and had I known that, I would have negated this. But I was like, if they have a way to play through this, they just baited out our Roar. They make Meteor Burst. They try to kill us. We Sanctuary, reducing our Sunlight Wolf's attack to 0, gaining ourselves 1,000 life points, saving us from losing the match, and freeing up our Sunlight Wolf zone to special summon our Foxy to it with the card we add off Circle, or indeed the mirror we add off Circle. They're DD Crowing, targeting our Gazelle. We're Roaring, targeting the DD Crow. We are all the way back in this game. We can make Ningirsu to send that to the graveyard, sending our field spell and attacking them for lethal, and they take the L, baby. What a match. That's hilarious. So we're back with the deck, and it basically feels head and shoulders above anything else you could be doing in Duel Links. This deck is absolutely wild, not only because it has a recursive counter trap setup, but because of how many searchers it has. You can cut down on archetypal cards to not only play your archetypal counter trap loop, but the most powerful staples in the game. This deck not only has space for 3 Compulse or Crackdown and multiple warning points, it also has space to go to 30 cards and play even more staples for back row removal, so it doesn't lose to opponents' a Salamangreat roars. And even if you don't have counter trap removal with MSTs, you play through so much interruption just natively with this deck that you honestly might not even need a back row removal in the first place. This deck is so powerful, and even after a ban list in which they put Gazelle or Roar to 1 potentially, since they normally only hit decks lightly for the first round in Duel Links, I don't think this deck will be out of the meta for a long time. It'll always be at least rogue playable given the recursion engine. You'd have to put literally Salamangreat Circle, Lady Debug, Gazelle, and Roar to 2 if you wanted to take this deck out of contention. Another thing they could do is put Baelings to 1, which I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Protecting your board multiple times from either your own needle sealing or your opponent's attacks is crazy in this game, where Treacherous Trap Hole has been basically the best card in the game for years. This feels like a huge step forward in the game's power level, and luckily I think it's a lot of fun both to play and play against. It does, of course, centralize the power of DD Crow even more, but personally I was already main decking 3 copies of DD Crow in high ladder performing decks, just because it's been hitting so much for a long time. If you're playing against this deck and you have Warning Point, I recommend Warning Pointing the Baelings as soon as they summon it. Keeping them off the field spell means they have to have even more extenders in hand if they want to reincarnate Sunlight Wolf to add a Roar or a Circle back to their hand, so it's best to keep them off both the circle, or not the circle, both the field spell and the link material in the form of Baelings to make their Sunlight Wolf. Other than that, I think this is a really fun deck to play. I think it's insanely strong, as I've said multiple times already, but I think it's fun enough to play against that I'm not so upset about it being insane right now. That being said, it's definitely going to go on the ban list after the next KC Cup, so get your rotations in with it while you can. Whew. I really did not expect this video to be so long. I apologize, but I hope you enjoyed watching it nonetheless. This was actually the final video on the Vrains era decks I wanted to make, and at this point I really have no idea what video I'm going to make next as far as Duel Links deck profiles. I can't really open new boxes all that often, so it'll probably be decks I already own. I was thinking of doing either a Row Mage, Metal Foes, Ranked In Trains, or Fish. If either of those sound fun, let me know maybe in the comments which one of those 4 you'd prefer me to make a video on. Speaking of, I record the deck construction process as well as the ladder replay farming live on Twitch at twitch.tv/skepticalsnivy. If you would like to watch me play the decks I play on this show on stream, you can follow me at the Twitch link in the description, and I'd really appreciate it. Additionally, I'll be trying to host a Duel Links tournament at least this month or next month, which you will need to be in the Discord to participate in, and you don't get the Discord link unless you are watching me on Twitch. So if that sounds like something you'd want to participate in, please check the link in the video's description. And in either case, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you again in the future.